Please be seated. I invite Gerri Walsh forward. Part of our mission here at Emmanuel Lutheran Church is to share our Christian faith. And Gerri's here to share a little bit of her faith with us. Last month we had Deacon Dave shared with us. Gerri's on today, and next month, well, we'll see. It might be you. Please, Gerri. Thank you.
All I have to say is that if Pastor Tony asks, say yes. I have, and it has brought me to a wonderful place. That song that we just sang is a perfect place for me to start. As I was driving here to come to church today, there was a segment on the radio about the song track of summer. And when I think about the song track of my faith journey, it's Amazing Grace. In all of its iterations, that song has always moved me to tears. It is just the most amazing song, Amazing Grace. And I don't have a particularly profound faith journey, but everything that was in that song really spoke to my heart about, it's all about love, and it's about believing in that higher power, Jesus, God. And I've struggled through my life with my faith. I'm facing down the bullet of 60 next year, so I can probably divide my life into roughly 3 equal segments. There were the Catholic years. I'm not a cradle Lutheran. I was born Catholic. I was born Catholic to Irish immigrants who, oh my Lord, if you did not go to church on Sunday, there was a little bit of Hades waiting for you. It was very, I love my parents dearly, but they were that strict. And I went to Catholic school for 12 years. I actually have a little bit of brown now on, but for many years in my life, I could not wear brown and gold because those were the school colors that I had to wear. And I was a very curious child. I did a lot of reading. And I remember at a very young age, I think I was 8 or 9, and I don't know what it was I read. I could swear it was the family Bible, but I doubt it when I tell you what it said. I was reading about Catholicism, trying to understand it, and I came across this passage about how indulgences were the norm, that in order to get to heaven, if you weren't a particularly good soul, you could just pay a little bit extra and get there. And I remember being absolutely appalled. How could Catholicism, how could Christianity allow for the sale of indulgences? How could you buy your way into heaven? And what I didn't know then is that 50 years later, I would be quite comfortably ensconced in Lutheranism, where in fact, there was this guy, Martin Luther, who kind of had the same problem with the Catholic Church. So I feel like I've always been meant to be a Lutheran. But after I graduated from high school, went to college, became a young adult, I drifted away from the church. It was very much the questioning segment of my life. But I remember there was one, it was 1999, so a little bit more than 20 years ago. I was on a trip to Vietnam, and I was in Ha Long Bay, which is this beautiful, beautiful bay in the north of Vietnam. And I think in James Bond movies, you see the islets that sort of filter up these beautiful, beautiful mounds. Terry Olenchuk had asked me if I had a picture that I wanted to share with the congregation, and I tried desperately to find the picture that my friend took of me, sitting on the boat at the stern with my legs dangling over, looking at the beauty, just absorbing it all. And the reason I wanted to share it with you is because at that moment, she didn't know it, but she captured me singing Amazing Grace. It was, I didn't have an organized religion that I was a part of at that point, although I still call myself a Catholic, because what do you do when you're baptized Catholic, right? But I believed there was so much beauty, so much grace, so much love in this world. And that was just the most powerful moment for me. And I thought, well, some way I will find my path to an organized religion that feels right. I met Hunter. I started coming here. Of course, most of you probably knew that in the early days, I was always hidden in the sound booth, right? I didn't really want to participate in the congregation, but somebody along the way, I think it was Rick Thiel, asked me if I would help John Hillier with doing the slides, and I said yes. Somewhere along the way, people asked me to get more involved in volunteer work, and I said yes. Pastor Taria asked me to join the congregation, and I said yes. People asked if I would help with governance and communications, and I said yes and yes. And Pastor Tony asked me if I would join council. I said yes. He asked me if I would come share my faith story, and I said yes. And the first time I did the devotion at council, I found myself absolutely in tears because I talked about how important Amazing Grace is to me. But I share that amazing grace. I came here, I found my path. This feels like home. It feels like a room without walls. So for those who are struggling, this is a great place. For those who are looking for a new home, this is a great place. And all you need to know is that it's filled with amazing grace. Thank you.
Let's give her a hand for sharing her faith. Thanks, Gerri. And what a gift it is to be your church. Thank you.